Tonight, the NRL makes history in Vegas as the dare to dream pays off. Sparkles tinge with sadness in Mardi Gras tributes to murder victims Jessie Baird and Luke Davies. 135,000 people beam with pride on Oxford Street, but a Premier protest leads to arrests. A birthday by-election victory for the Prime Minister comes with a pledge to struggling Aussies. The US drops food into Gaza as frustration grows over ceasefire delays. Plus 2 upsets to kick off the season as the Sea Eagles and Roosters taste victory in Vegas.
This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. Rugby League's great Las Vegas gamble has paid off on the first roll of the dice. More than 40,000 fans packing into Allegiant Stadium as the NRL took over the city to kick off the 2024 season. The Sea Eagles and Roosters were winners on the field, but the real success could come from the brand new audience given a taste of our game.
Team walks were through the Vegas streets. Manly got their supporters together at the Hard Rock Cafe. The Eagles were rocking.
Unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. It brings a tear to my eye, actually.
The hotel housing the team was selfie central. Everyone was there.
This town is actually pumping. I reckon there's 30 to 40,000 Australians walking the streets, and I think I've met every single one of them.
League fans were in abundance on the strip, and we even bumped into the old boss of the game.
Walking the streets, seeing people in their jerseys, it's exciting for the game.
The current boss, the man who put this in motion, was given some special treatment, a police escort to the ground, and we were invited along for the ride.
You normally travel with a police bike in front of you? Normally I'm in the back of the van, but how are you feeling? It's such a massive day for you. Well, normally caterpillars turn into butterflies, but I think the butterflies are turned back into caterpillars. There's some really rock-solid cement in my stomach at the moment, but look, it's nerve-wracking. Biggest market in the world.
When do you dare yourself to feel a little bit proud about what's happened?
Look, I'd like to, all the games over and we're all back in Australia safe and sound, and then I'll certainly feel very proud.
And of course, at the ground, the fans were pumped.
Bunnies! Bunnies! We are so happy to be here, and we're glad you guys are here today too.
Even if the strong winds meant tailgating was not as big as it should have been. Inside the stadium, Volandis was awestruck, his dream becoming a reality.
Quite an experience. Unbelievable experience. It's just, words cannot describe it.
And then there were the best seats in the house, the Chairman's Lounge, a special place to view history.
It is a dream, there's no doubt about that. It's exceeded all expectation. The atmosphere here is next level.
Then it was time for the real stars of the show, the players holding up their end of the deal, showing Americans how football is done down under.
It's called the Manu Miracle.
In Las Vegas, Danny Weidler, 9 News.
And let's go live to Las Vegas, and Danica Mason is inside Allegiant Stadium. Danica, a day to remember for rugby league, and the NRL is hoping this is just the start.
Yes, it certainly was a day to remember. Good evening, Pete. What incredible scenes we did see here this afternoon. The atmosphere inside Allegiant Stadium was unbelievable. At halftime, the music was pumping. They had DJs as well on set playing music all around the ground, and it felt like a nightclub here in Las Vegas. And it wasn't just fans from Australia. We had a lot of fans that we spoke to from here in America. We also had fans who have travelled all the way from the UK, Ireland, and so everyone was having such a fantastic time. And good news for the NRL as well. They did crack that 40,000 mark, close to 41,000 fans in attendance, and this is just the beginning because, as we know, we have 4 more years of this Las Vegas bonanza.
Good on you, Danica. Thank you. And we'll have a full match report on these history-making games a little later in sport. Police across the state could have their every move monitored amid calls for GPS trackers to be installed in their guns. The push follows the alleged murders of Luke Davies and Jessie Baird, who were remembered at last night's Mardi Gras. Luke's mother joining her son's friends in the parade.
There was no hiding it. Behind the glitter, at times it felt like the Mardi Gras was an all-dancing, all-singing wake to honour Luke Davies and Jessie Baird. At the start, just for a minute, the big bikes fell silent. Luke Davies' friends said Mardi Gras was his favourite night of the year. His Qantas colleagues held him in such esteem, they named their float after him. and marching behind, unknown to most, Luke's mum, Sandy.
We're walking with us tonight, and that is just a special moment to say with her, say that Bracey is our love.
All week there was plenty of talk about police not being welcome, with one of their own charged with Luke and Jesse's murders.
It's been a really challenging week for everyone. The loss of those two beautiful young men has been quite heartbreaking for so many in our community.
However, a small group of officers, not in uniform, were embraced as part of the LGBT family.
It's great. We've had a tough week and it's been great.
Actor and activist Hugh Sheridan was a friend of Luke's.
I hope that tonight brings a lot of healing for everyone, because I certainly know Luke was just the sweetest person.
When Bolamar Condon allegedly shot and killed Jesse and Luke here in Paddington, no one in the force seemed to be aware he was in possession of a police-issued Glock pistol. Now there are calls within the force for GPS locators to be installed on weapons so armed officers can be tracked within the community. In Paddington, Mark Burrows, 9 News.
Labor has won the Dunkley by-election, justifying the Prime Minister's changes to tax cuts and consigning Peter Dutton to another defeat. Votes are still being counted, but the swing is to the Liberal Party as voters make it clear the number one issue in the community is still cost of living.
Sipping on success. The Prime Minister and Jody Bellier after a bruising by-election win.
The hard work starts now, and the hard work of our government will continue.
Last night,
I'm a mum from Frankston with 2 dogs and a mortgage, and I'm going to be your member for Dunkley.
Jody Bellier winning the seat with 52.7% of the two-party vote. A 3.6% swing against the government, with votes still being counted. If replicated nationally, 11 seats would be lost.
That puts Anthony Albanese in the Labor government into minority government, or possibly could put us back in power.
Nathan Conroy defeated, but about to be a dad again.
Just before I came up on the stage, my wife whispered in my ear that we are having our second child.
Liberal sources say he's already being sounded out for another run.
6.3% is not a marginal seat. But by hell, it's a marginal seat now. So congratulations.
I think Peter Dutton can take a lot out of this. This is game on. This is really game on.
As counting continued, some of the bigger swings in booths where voters were doing it tough. The message is, if you get it wrong on cost of living, it could cost your government. With job now done here in Dunkley, attention will move to the federal budget.
I've already foreshadowed that we'll have more measures in the budget. We work each and every day to do more.
Well, it'll be a big part of the budget. You know, that is the biggest issue in the country at the moment. It's what all Australians are focused on, and it's what we're focused on as well.
We go to bed every night, and we'll do so from here on in, thinking about how we can improve Australians' lives, how we can make the family budget better.
Charles Croucher, 9 News. The feeling tonight in the Labor camp is relief. Beyond the usual expectation management, there was a genuine concern among Labor that the Liberal Party may have won that seat last night. Now, with wages rising faster than inflation, with a tax cut on the way, a budget in May and potential interest rate cuts likely, there is a feeling among the government that things will get easier for Australian households, and that will mean elections get easier for the government. As for Peter Dutton, Winston Churchill used to say you should deserve victory. Well, if a leader doesn't show on polling day to change some votes, or at least to motivate and thank his volunteers, then that leader doesn't deserve victory.
Charles, thank you. A 45-year-old man has been stabbed in the back at Doonside and is refusing to talk to police. He was found on Musgrove Crescent and rushed to Westmead Hospital just before midnight. Tonight, he's in a stable condition and yet to tell police who attacked him. 1,200 homes in Cherrybrook lost power today when an electrical box caught fire. 2 families living nearby had to be evacuated because of the smoke just before 4 p.m. Firefighters did their best to put out the flames, but in the end they waited for it to burn itself out. Power is slowly being restored to the area. Work is well underway to fill in a sinkhole that emerged under a commercial building at a Rockdale industrial estate on Friday. The exclusion zone was extended after Fire and Rescue New South Wales detected movement in the building with concerns about its stability. Fire and Rescue say concrete works have progressed well, with the site set to be handed back to the company tonight. The United States has airdropped food into Gaza for the first time as the humanitarian crisis there worsens. The move is tonight being seen as a last resort by increasingly frustrated US officials, with time running out for a ceasefire deal to be struck.
On board a US military aircraft, pallets of humanitarian aid are packed, placed onto tracks and pushed into place. The carefully orchestrated mission begins. 3 C-130 Hercules take off, bound for Gaza. Once high above the enclave, the pallets are released. 66 all up, carrying 38,000 ready-to-eat meals. Parachutes helping guide them towards the coastline. It's the first round of humanitarian airdrops by the US Air Force. On the ground, screams as they pass overhead. More drops will follow. It's welcomed, but it doesn't come close to what's needed. The UN says a quarter of Gaza's 2.3 million people are starving. At least 115 now confirmed dead when crowds swarmed trucks on Thursday. Israeli forces have been accused of opening fire.
These events cannot be allowed to go on. We need to have safe, secure passage throughout Gaza.
Despite the airdrops, air strikes continue. Many killed and dozens injured in Rafah, according to Gaza's health ministry. The area surrounding the Emirati hospital was targeted, this man says. Pressure for a ceasefire agreement ahead of Ramadan beginning on March 10th grows by the day. It's understood the framework for a 6-week ceasefire has been accepted, but sticking points remain.
We're still working real hard at it, not there yet.
What is the biggest hold-up right now?
I'm not going to tell you that because that would get involved in the negotiations.
Israeli War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz heading to the US and then the UK for high-level meetings as the situation becomes more desperate. Some Israeli media reporting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu didn't know beforehand. In London, Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
An apartment block in the Russian city of St Petersburg has been damaged and 6 people injured by what local media say was a drone attack. Several people were killed in the Ukrainian city of Odessa when debris from a Russian drone struck a building. Alexei Navalny's gravesite in Moscow has been transformed into a shrine of flowers, with mourners queuing to pay tribute to the late Russian opposition leader. Thousands risked arrest, lining the streets for his funeral in one of the largest recent displays of dissent in the country. Former US President Donald Trump has won the Missouri and Idaho primaries for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. It comes ahead of Super Tuesday, which will see 16 states vote in the primaries race. Trump is unbeaten so far. An extra 29 specialist breast care nurses will help support patients across New South Wales, with Labor delivering on an election promise. $18.6 million in funding will go to the McGrath Foundation, which provides the free service to those undergoing breast cancer treatment. It adds to the 76 breast care nurses already delivering much-needed care in New South Wales.
Being diagnosed with breast cancer could be the worst day of your life, but at least with this announcement, you'll have people who care about you, who understand the system and can hold your hand through these difficult times.
1 in every 7 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. 8 of the 29 nurses have already started, with all to be deployed across Greater Sydney, the Hunter and regional areas. Mardi Gras was always going to be tinged with sadness after the deaths of Jessie Baird and Luke Davies. But Oxford Street sparkled with every colour of the rainbow last night as thousands celebrated. The Premier made history as the first to march, but his moment in the spotlight was hijacked by protesters.
It started on the tray of a ute in 1978, a movement not just surviving but thriving through the decades. The original movers and shakers, pride of place.
We've come a long way and I'm really pleased about that.
Hand in hand with the next generation. A collective sense of pride shining brighter than any float, dress or tiara. Rainbow sparks lighting up the sky over Oxford Street. Confetti showers eclipsed by a sprinkle, but there was no chance the weather could rain on this parade. Rock royalty Queen frontman Adam Lambert bringing the party.
The energy is amazing. I'm really thrilled to be here. I dropped a new song for tonight just for Sydney.
In step with the crowd, Chris Minns making history as the first Premier to march in Mardi Gras. A milestone moment not missed by pro-Palestinian protesters. Some confronting politicians with banners and flares. An interruption that only lasted seconds. Uniformed officers quick to take down the masked activists, dragging them off the strip. 9 arrested, 8 charged with using violence to cause fear. Too close for comfort for the Premier, slipping out straight after the incident, surrounded by security. Today, playing it down.
It didn't really affect me too much. In fact, with the coloured flares and the banner, I thought it was part of Mardi Gras.
And the show went on for the other 135,000 celebrating well into the morning. Sophie Upcroft, 9 News.
It is time now to check in on today's weather. Good evening, Amber.
Good evening to you, Pete. Sydney turned it on today for our first autumn weekend. Beautiful blue skies and sunshine. The harbour packed with yachts, skiffs and ships today, while ferries were packed with people making the most of the gorgeous weather. Northeasterly winds picking up this afternoon, making it a little choppy on the water. After a low of just under 19 degrees, the city soared to a top of 31. That is 6 degrees above average. The west dipping to 17 this morning before reaching 32 degrees late this afternoon. That's 4 degrees warmer than usual. And the heat is going to continue this week. I'll be back with a full forecast a little later, Pete.
Amber, thank you. A-League fans banned after a scuffle in the stands, the one trigger that caused the chaos, and the swift response from police at Parramatta. The new Penrith Beach proves such a hit, it will open for longer. The details next. Wipeout in aisle 6, shoppers mowed down by an out-of-control driver. Turkish Airlines lands in Australia for the first time. We'll tell you when Sydney will secure flights. And what had Aussie pop princess Kylie Minogue doing a stiletto shoey. A number of A-League soccer fans were kicked out and then banned from CommBank Stadium in Parramatta after a brawl at the Sydney Derby. Supporters claiming the melee, which involved police, started with an unauthorised banner.
A tussle under the stands of CommBank Stadium. Police caught up in the commotion, pinning Western Sydney Wanderers fans to the ground. Just an hour earlier, very different scenes on the streets of Parramatta. The Red and Black Bloc, or RBB, gathering at Prince Alfred Park before a planned march to the stadium. And as the group got revved up in the stands, a 37-year-old man was told to leave by security, fans claiming it was over an unauthorised banner. The rest of the group chose to leave in solidarity, creating a hole in the crowd of the Sydney Derby.
And the RBB has gone AWOL.
It was during their mass exodus that the brawl broke out. Extra police called in, the RBB then taking their chance to the car park. 14 people were kicked out of the stadium after the scuffle, 6 of those banned for up to 12 months. One person was issued an infringement for offensive behaviour, all before the game had even finished.
You know, not having them, you know, singing and cheering, you know, the players on. I think we all realised that they weren't there.
Police and the stadium now working to determine what triggered the brawl, with at least 3 people also under investigation for setting off flares. Sydney FC went on to claim the match 4-1. In Parramatta, Erin Ramsey, 9 News.
While the NRL season kick-off in Vegas has been hailed a success, there was this ugly scene in the stands with 2 fans coming to blows, one requiring medical attention after he was struck twice in the face by another fan. An investigation into the incident is underway. Western Sydney's water oasis will stay open for another month, with warm weather set to continue. Penrith Beach has been a huge hit with the locals since it opened late last year, with almost 200,000 people visiting.
If you missed out on the opportunity to spend some time at Sydney's newest beach, now's your opportunity.
The beach was meant to close this weekend, but will now stay open until Anzac Day. This Walmart in the United States will need more than just a clean-up in aisle 6 after a car ploughed 14 metres into the store. 5 people, including the driver, were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. It's believed the woman behind the wheel had suffered a medical episode. Our Queen of Pop, Kylie Minogue, has taken an Aussie tradition to the UK, performing a shoey from a stiletto at the Brit Awards. The superstar was honoured as a global icon at this year's ceremony before singing a medley of her greatest hits to a packed arena. Watchers, they do more than tell the time these days. Next, how they're saving lives through a little-known feature. A 2-metre bull shark stalks surfers on their Sunday paddle. See what happens next. Our Sydney-siders living in apartments are saving millions on their water bills. And the Bankstown boxer making Olympic history before she's even thrown a punch. Turkish Airlines says it intends to offer flights from Istanbul to Sydney by the end of the year. The airline's first flight to Australia landed in Melbourne this morning, marking the start of 3 flights to the city each week.
We do know that international travel is still highly expensive, so any competition that joins that European market and those connections will mean better airfares for our travellers.
The Sydney to Istanbul flights will include a stopover in Singapore. A cyclist who was knocked out by a kangaroo says his smartwatch saved his life. The rider's Apple Watch detected his fall, sent a text to his wife and dialed 000.
When Apple, Samsung, Google and others talk up fall detection, most people, like Bruce Mildenhall, think they'll never need it, until a kangaroo crashes into their bike at speed in the Macedon Ranges.
I woke up with a giant neck brace on and I thought, oh God, what have I done here? Then there was this bang, bang, bang on the side of the ambulance, and it was my wife saying, have you got Bruce Mildenhall in there? Is he alive?
Bruce's wife got a text from his Apple Watch, which detected his fall and called 000 with his location.
I had all the help I needed for what could have been a pretty tragic accident, but it was all through technology that the help got to me in the time that I really needed it.
That story will appear in Apple's new health and safety campaign, alongside Lexi Northcote. Lexi didn't know she was at extreme risk of heart failure until getting warning after warning on the watch she received for her 16th birthday.
We got sent straight to Melbourne, and that night we worked out that I had a complete heart block.
If Lexi didn't have these notifications, there's no way we would have known there was anything wrong with it.
Not every smartwatch has these features, but the big brands, Apple, Samsung, Withings, all have these features that essentially are monitoring your heart rate constantly.
As useful as the readings were for Lexi, tech companies are quick to point out that their smartwatches are no substitute for real medical tests. And if you think something's wrong, you should definitely consult your clinician.
We're just going to try to continue to invest in those places where, hopefully users don't really have to think about using these features, but when they need them, they're there and they can make this really big impact on their lives.
I never take my watch off. I don't feel safe without it on.
I'd really think that if she didn't have that watch on today or then, she wouldn't be here.
You can compare some of the health and safety features of the most popular smartwatches on our website. Mark Santomartino, 9 News.
A bull shark has been spotted very close to surfers this morning at Angels Beach near Ballina on our mid-north coast. The drone operator who saw the 2-metre shark told 9 News it was swimming much closer to surfers than usual. This one appeared disinterested, soon heading back into deeper water. People living in Sydney apartment blocks could be set to save significantly on their water bills by installing a Sydney Water smart meter and online monitoring system through their strata. They'll be able to identify any potential leaks in the building. The Water Fix program is expected to save each apartment around $210 a year.
We start with a benchmarking assessment and also a physical inspection of the unit, which identifies any areas that are of concern of higher water use.
Sydney Water says the program has saved almost 300 swimming pools worth of water. An Aussie boxer bound for Paris will make history even before she throws a punch. Tina Rahimi will later this year become the first female Muslim to represent Australia in the ring at an Olympics.
Boxer Tina Rahimi has the community in her corner.
You're training? You've been training?
Yeah, just
my
finished training
good
now.
on you. Congratulations.
Thank you so
awesome.
The green and gold outfit to go with her hijab. She's dressed and ready to make history.
I wish her all the best.
Thank you.
She's the best.
And who is to argue? The 27-year-old from Bankstown is set to become Australia's first female Muslim boxer to compete at an Olympics.
To be honest, it still hasn't hit me yet.
I love it when you say it hasn't hit me yet.
Yeah.
But you've hit quite a few to get there.
Yeah, I have.
Tina booked her place at the Pacific Games in the Solomon Islands in December.
There she is. Look, she knows.
Yeah.
She knows.
She's going to Paris.
Before jumping into the ring, she was at the beauty parlour. Tina was a makeup artist.
It was quite funny. A lot of my clients would come in and I'll do their makeup and they'll be like, oh, please don't punch me in the face.
Stumbling on a boxing class at a local gym 7 years ago kick-started Tina's journey to Paris and hopefully Olympic glory. Along the way, she's knocked out competitors and knocked down barriers.
I just hope that I can show these women that you can do these things and still be true to yourself and to your beliefs and your faith without being uncomfortable.
Tina and her Australian Olympic teammate Tiana Eshegare train twice a day, 6 days a week. An Olympic gold medal is the prize, but you know she's already won a major title.
To know that I'll be an Olympian for the rest of my life, it's like I can just tell that to everyone. It's a name, it's something that you'd be proud of. Not everyone can call themselves an Olympian.
Damien Ryan, 9 News.
Hot homes making people sick. Calls for a cool change to building standards to reduce heat stress on residents. Plus, Mike Dalton meets 6-year-old Helena, the pocket rocket, who's just become a world record holder. James, the Sea Eagles and Roosters, they'll leave the US very happy.
Oh yes, Pete. They may have been on the other side of the planet, but their fans back home will be just as happy as Luke Brooks began life. Manu Magic helped the Roosters buck the Broncos, but not everything went to plan. The details next. Nathan Lyon spins Australia to victory in Wellington. Plus, another milestone for NBA legend LeBron James.
And tomorrow will be the coolest day of the week before temperatures climb again. I'll have your forecast soon.
The eyes on our skies, but they're not human.
We'll have the speed of the aircraft, the altitude of the aircraft, the call sign of the aircraft.
Incredible technology replacing air traffic control towers, and Sydney is next.
How it will work and what the backup plan is if something goes wrong.
9 News, your news, Monday at 6.
It doesn't matter where the games are played, NRL season kickoff is always a thrill, and today's doubleheader in Las Vegas was no different. New recruit Luke Brooks helping Manly upset the Rabbitohs, while Joey Manu led the Roosters to victory over last year's runners-up, the Broncos.
Yeah, a little bit of relief. I just wanted to get the win. We're in Vegas. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
While the Rabbitohs were left wondering where it all went wrong.
Round one, we came up with some key errors at crucial times when we let Manly back in.
The Roosters started their match with a bang.
Now Ezra Mann throws an intercept. Manu! Joey Manu with a gift-wrap try.
No surprise, it was Reece Walsh on the highlight reel next.
Walsh beat one, grab us through, try to Brisbane.
Manu wasn't done showcasing his skills to the world.
Joseph Manu has a no-look, over-the-top flick pass, which I've never seen before.
And the skipper showed he's got plenty left in the tank.
Tedesco, dummies, runs, links up with Radley and probably wins the game for the Roosters.
The Tricolours victorious in Vegas, 20-10 over the Broncos.
Mate, stoked. It's been an unbelievable trip. Finish with a win, that's what makes the whole trip. We're going to look back very fondly.
A sour way for the trip to end. Ezra Mam has made an official complaint against Spencer Leniu for an alleged racial slur.
2 massive cracking games and now we're dealing with this. We just didn't need it after round one.
But we don't stand for racism at all at our club.
It's not who we are as a group, and hopefully it's not too serious. And
Nah, nothing. It's just all fun and games on the field, and that's it. You're not too worried? Not worried at all.
Emma Lawrence, 9 News.
Well, the Waratahs have produced one of their finest wins, upstaging the defending champion Crusaders 37-24, easing the pressure on under-fire coach Darren Coleman.
I don't think there's a coach who works harder, so all the other stuff's out of our control. We keep playing like that. The rest will do the talking.
The win lifts the Tars into 8th on the ladder. Coach Marco Rudan says Wanderers players lacked hunger in their 4-1 derby loss to Sydney FC, but believes his side can still mount a late-season fight back after dropping to 6th.
One game is not going to define our season. You know, it's a tough one to take, and I apologise to our fans and members, clearly, and I take full responsibility.
Defending champions Central Coast remain second on the A-League ladder, thanks to a 1-0 win over Newcastle. Well, Nathan Lyon has spun Australia to victory over New Zealand in the first test, finishing with a 10-wicket haul in Wellington. Lyon dismantling the Black Caps' middle order to seal a 172-run victory, prompting his captain to make a bold call about the spinners' future.
Mission accomplished for Australia, and all before morning tea.
And that's that. And Australia have won it quite convincingly in the end.
A dominant victory to retain the Trans-Tasman Trophy. Needing 258 for an unlikely upset, Rachin Ravindra loomed as the Kiwis' biggest threat on day 4, but Nathan Lyon set the perfect trap.
Catch it! Out. You just felt like it was going to happen.
In a dazzling 8-ball spell, Lyon spun the Kiwis into disarray.
Oh no.
And after Glenn Phillips failed to offer any resistance,
and gone.
The rest fell in rapid succession, a nightmare capitulation condemning the Black Caps to a 172-run defeat.
It's captain's dream, really. It's just, it's a real sense of calm out there when you know you've got someone that good on a wicket that's giving him a little bit of help.
36-year-old Lyon taking the 5th 10-wicket haul of his career, still at the peak of his powers, with no signs of slowing.
I would absolutely love if he was playing until 2027, and I don't think there's much that's going to get in his way. I already told him the day he retires, I'm definitely giving up the captaincy because it makes my life a hell of a lot easier.
The veteran showing no mercy. His captain hopes the top 6 will do the same in Friday's second test.
When we're at our best, especially at home, it's that ruthless, setting them 600, 650, so I think we can, something we can look at.
Nicole Dunn, 9 News.
Another promising career milestone for Alex de Minaur, the world number 9, successfully defending a title for the first time at the Mexico Open. In almost 2 hours, the Australian's relentless court coverage proved crucial, taking down 3-time Grand Slam finalist Casper Ruud 6-4, 6-4 for his 8th career crown. 3-time defending Formula One world champion Max Verstappen has won the season-opening Grand Prix in Bahrain. Sergio Perez was second, making it a 1-2 finish for Team Red Bull. Aussies Oscar Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo were 8th and 13th, respectively. Tottenham was 15 minutes away from back-to-back Premier League losses before 3 late goals saw them defeat Crystal Palace 3-1. Ange Postecoglou's side still 5th, 5 points behind Aston Villa with a game in hand. Liverpool left it even later to keep their ladder lead intact, scoring a 99th minute winner against relegation battlers Nottingham Forest. 21 years after sinking his first, LeBron James has scored his 40,000th point, becoming the player to reach the milestone in NBA history. James bringing it up with a layup in the Lakers' 10-point loss to the Denver Nuggets, putting his own career-scoring record further out of reach as he enters the twilight of his career. Australian Hannah Green has produced a stunning finish to steal victory at the Women's World Championship event in Singapore. Standing on the 15th tee, Green trailed by 2 shots, but birdied the last 3 holes to defeat Frenchwoman Celine Baultier by 1 shot, Green winning her 4th LPGA title. And in Vegas today, it wasn't just about taking rugby league to America, but also about bringing Americans to rugby league. US-based athletes participating in a combine to see whether they have the physical ability and skills to make it in the NRL.
If we're going to come into the American market and grab a piece of the American pie, then we're going to have to eventually have Americans playing our code.
Being able to be a part of this level of professionalism and the way that they're scouting and the way that they have plans to continue this on, I'm excited for how this can grow the sport here.
25 men and 25 women took part in the drills with a number of NRL club scouts watching on keenly. Pete, orders restored, the footy's back, and looking forward to some games on home soil this coming weekend.
And great to have you back in the rugby league seat.
Loving it, mate.
Good on you, James. Thank you, mate. Next on 9 News, how hot homes are making more and more Aussies sick. From Balgowlah to Blacktown, thousands pull on their gloves to clean up Australia.
And 6-year-old Helena Carey becomes Australia's latest and littlest athletics world champion.
The cost of living crisis has left some struggling to keep their homes cool and themselves healthy. There are calls tonight for the federal government to help retrofit homes and introduce minimum building standards before it's too late.
Usually a shelter, but not in summer heat. Julie's one-bedroom rental doesn't have air conditioning or inbuilt fans.
I just have to suffer through the heat. I have icy drinks, flannel and lie down, and that's about all I can do.
She's one of many Australians in poorly insulated homes and unable to afford upgrades, or not allowed to because she doesn't own it. According to an Australian Council of Social Services report, 80% of people in financial stress say their homes get too hot and are suffering ill health as a result.
If you're on a low income, particularly if you're in a rental property, you are absolutely stuck in these hot boxes.
Prolonged heat events can have a profound effect. It can destabilise the cardiovascular system. It can lead to collapse. It can lead to kidney or liver failure. If it's not treated, it can be very, very severe.
We need now a major investment in the retrofitting of low-income housing across the country. Access to solar panels, the best of insulation, overhead fans.
The government says they're doing just that.
In the last budget, we had a $1.7 billion program. Of course, there's an enormous task ahead of us. That's a very big investment, and the states have made very big investments in these things as well.
However, advocacy groups say this only covers a small percentage of the upgrades required. They say they want more money in the upcoming federal budget as Australian summers get more extreme. While the start of autumn may bring some relief, Julie worries our homes aren't prepared for a future that's only getting hotter.
In another 20 years, the temperatures might be 45 regularly, and if there's no air conditioning, people won't get through it.
Amanda Kopp, 9 News.
Hundreds of thousands of Aussies did the dirty work today, collecting rubbish from their local communities for Clean Up Australia Day. More than 750,000 volunteers picked up litter across 10,000 sites around the country. The majority of it soft plastics and cigarette butts. We are mere months away from the games of the 33rd Olympiad in Paris, and Australians everywhere will be glued to the telly to witness our athletes reach higher, faster and stronger. And in a few Olympics' time, you might want to keep an eye out for 6-year-old Helena Carey, who was already an international champion on the track with the world record to prove it.
This country's latest athletics world champion isn't resting on her laurels. 6-year-old Helena Carey competing today at the Little Athletics State Combined Carnival. Fresh from last week's smashing of a 6-year-old international track record. More than half a second, mate.
And half a second over 300 metres is a lot of time. It's absolutely smashed that record, it's an amazing achievement.
She'd been training for a few months. And at Christmas time, we said to her, look, there's a record out there. Do you want to have a crack at it?
The unusual distance, a taste test for little runners, but the record a legitimate international athletics marker.
It's a unique event. It's to get the little kids ready for the 400. When we showed her the video of the 2000 Olympics, that was a bit of a moment for her.
It lit the fire.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
And last Saturday, the Year 1 student from Vaucluse Public was primed to reach for glory, but track conditions would declare otherwise.
She had to wait 3 hours. She was supposed to run at 8:30 and we did it at 11:30.
Because it was all wet and I could slip and I probably wouldn't have got the world record. Because all of my family was cheering for me and some of my athletics friends.
And that helped?
Yeah.
57.57. How does it feel being a world champion?
Good.
You look very relaxed for a world champion.
I am.
Helena carrying her world record form into this weekend's decathlon of events. What's next?
my 500 metres today.
A victory she would claim by the length of the Randwick Straight. Another proud moment for Dad, a former AFL player for the Lions and Swans.
What about you, mate? You copping any bragging rights? I'm a father of world champion, that sort of deal.
Oh, mate, I'm getting T-shirts made up, trust me.
Helena, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
In Glendale, Mike Dalton, 9 News.
Well done, Helena. Coming up, Amber with the weather.
Thanks, Pete. There is barely any rain around for the next 7 days. In fact, the only shower we might see is later this evening and early tomorrow. Right now, though, it's clear. 25 degrees in the city, 31 in our west. I'll have your forecast next. We enjoyed a beautiful Sunday, blue skies and sunshine with a northeasterly breeze picking up this afternoon. Reaching a top of 31 degrees in the city, that is 6 degrees warmer than the March average. 32 in Penrith and Campbelltown, 33 in Blacktown, Parramatta and Liverpool, 34 the top in Cronulla. We saw some isolated showers and storms across northern New South Wales today, but the rest of the state stayed fine. Temperatures in the northeast soaring up to 9 degrees above average. Narrabri hitting 36. Southern New South Wales was closer to average. 26 the top in Newcastle, 35 in Wollongong and in Batemans Bay. Tomorrow a cold front will pass to the south, followed by a slow-moving high, and that will be the dominant feature across New South Wales for the next few days. Elsewhere, showers and storms will scatter across much of WA, the Northern Territory and far north Queensland with humid and unstable air. Let's take a look around the country. Showers in Brisbane tomorrow, heading for 30 degrees, partly cloudy in Canberra, 24. A cool 21 on the way for Melbourne, a cloudy 19 in Hobart, fine and 30 degrees in Adelaide and cloudy skies in Perth with a top of 27. Some showers expected in the northeast corner of the state tomorrow, but everywhere else should stay dry. Looking cooler along the coast tomorrow, only heading for a top of 21 degrees in Wollongong and Batemans Bay, 24 in Coffs Harbour and Newcastle, while further inland areas around Bathurst and Mudgee can expect tops in the mid-20s with warmer tops in the low 30s across the west. There is a strong wind warning for Byron, the Hunter, Sydney and the entire south coast, and there's a hazardous surf warning for the same areas, including the Hunter and Sydney. After a possible shower tonight, Sydney will be mild and partly cloudy tomorrow with a slight chance of a shower along the coastal fringe with light to moderate southeasterly winds. It will be our coolest day of the week with temperatures 1 to 4 degrees below average. We're only looking at a top of 18 degrees in Katoomba, 22 for Terry Hills and Cronulla, heading for a top of 24 in the city, and then we're only looking at tops of 23 to 24 degrees right across our west, including Penrith, Blacktown and Parramatta. Let's take a look ahead and look at that forecast. The city looking fine for the entire week. Top temperatures gradually rising from a top of 26 on Tuesday to 29 degrees on Wednesday and staying in the high 20s right through to next weekend. Next Sunday looking sunny and 30 degrees, while those nights will range from lows of 17 to 21. In our rain, we're not expecting any rain at all. Sunny and 28 on Tuesday. A few clouds around on Wednesday, but still reaching 32. Then mostly sunny and 30 degrees on Thursday through to Saturday. Sunday looking sunny with a top of 32 degrees, Pete.
Amber, thank you. Before we go, here's a quick look at what's in store on tonight's edition of 60 Minutes.
Thanks, Peter. Tonight, our spy chief's warning to our enemies.
We know who you are, we know what you're up to.
How ASIO caught out.
It's a threat to our very way of life.
An Australian traitor.
They sold out Australia. They sold out Australia.
Plus, the Salt Creek Monster.
Oh my God, he wants to kill us.
Jailed for terrorising 2 backpackers.
Why?
Now targeting his own daughter.
I'm really scared that Dad's going to come after me when he gets out. I'm really scared.
That's tonight after Married. Back to you, Peter.
Thank you, Tara. I'll be back with the late news at 9:40 tonight. That is 9 News for this Sunday. I'm Peter Overton. I hope you have a good evening. From all of us, good night.